Archery is something that runs in our blood. It goes way back before we even could define ourselves as a nation. But archery really became a national sport in the global sense of the word when we joined the United Nations in the 60s. But archery has always been a very, very deep part of Bhutan and our culture and our traditions.
차자도 됐다. 제가 저 시남.
수고.
당연 수고만 안 되시. 수고.
민이가 수고. 담배와 잔의 수고.
네,
시시.
해마라 거기 아빠기 까불때 아빠기 잡면다 다 아빠기 잡대 거기 아빠기 잡대 빠시 주고메라 아빠 토토 파네일라 로 디앱주 차스 메스다 아빠기 잡베베 몰라 아빠기 잡들래 거기 안에 합베베 데 거기 잡을래 아빠 샤 때따래 거기 부디 잡지 거기 샤베베 안에 빌 아빠기 잡베 부기 잡베래 아빠 로기 벌래 잡면라
남로 룰루 구츠바 롱가 대 잡지라 단 잡대 들랑 제 당후르스베 빠시 데 다디 힘마다 되든 대집에 때 알루 참심마 들라라 자금 쓰스 때 들은 메시지 때단 다디 잡나
니 부디게 더 붕이여 봐라 대품 속에 붙이 한수기 정도 그런다 아니라 미주베라 좋은라다 부기 잡베라 terna ba jusap chi dumna la listen na ani jamela te lalu be wachin he ma dra gaye salam me pashi ju chap da gaye te lalu ben thare di chap da gaye lam na ma chi ver thare di gaye na la
tim ta jo na te ru ma pa di te nga chi ani de da kun chen na di ru te ter kun na ba zu ta na ju pu li be shi le te ani ba bombe be ru na sa se po la poni tenga chi so jana che mi wala poni te travel to dinga chen ni hema idira atsi te che no tamela
my first archery match was very, very late relatively compared to most. And I started on the compound bow, fortunately or unfortunately. It should have been traditional, but it was the compound that caught my eye. Traditional archery in Bhutan is still, it still lives in its own way, but it has evolved as well. The compound bow gives archery a little bit more efficiency. It makes it more exciting. You hit more targets. I mean, it just brings a new dynamics to the entire paradigm of traditional archery. But I personally believe that it's a good thing, because if something does not change and evolve, then it slowly goes extinct and dies.
We are having a friendly tournament, friendly match today, and it's between two opponents. Like, we have 11-11. It is a team sport. That is why you develop your team spirit and your team cooperation, sense of belongingness with each other, you know. So it's not with the fighting and all, but you just hang out together, dance, celebrate your targets.
This man is always very hopeless, man. Never hitting the target. Even though if I'm not a best archer, I can just make my own enjoyment by dancing, by celebrating in the village, and by talking with the people. So archery doesn't mean that we need to hit the target. It means to have a good cooperation between the families, the friends, the villagers. So it is certain kind of community thing for us.
Bhutan is a very small country, but it has a lot of diversity. And archery, in one way, has played a very important factor in building the social fabric. And it brings people together.
Garuda #1 and Garuda #2 because of their nose.
You know, Garuda is a mythical animal.
Over here in Bhutan, a person who does have a long nose and a very big forehead, this kind of person are considered as a very good fortune person.
Fortunate, yes.
Yeah, to be born over here in Bhutan, because we do have a saying that a person who have a big forehead will always be a leader.
It is true, yes, yeah. Very true. It's said as, if I quote it in our mother tongue, it's called Chatha Chethe Pengiju.
Yeah, I'm going to be a leader, but right now I'm having a little bit hair on my forehead. So sooner after, when I get rid of my hairs,
yes, you know, we have to shave it.
I'll be a leader. I'll be leader of Paro.
We have to shave it with a blade. No, then he will become a future leader. Let's go. Come.
I have been a compound bow archer. One time, like, I used to wait for the day to break so that I could shoot with the first light. And, so there isn't that kind of interest on a personal level. But I also I have come into the National Archery Federation's picture, mainly because of the organization that I work for, Youngful Archery, which is the first archery establishment that brought in the first compound bows in Bhutan. It is the establishment also that set up the first compound bow tournament in Bhutan. In 1997, it set up Youngful Open Archery Tournament, which has become, in terms of participation, the biggest tournament in Bhutan. I go to world level competitions and everything, but I never see 1,500 archers or 262 teams that Youngful Open Archery Tournament has. Usually, before we used to give very bulky things, but more and more now, people are looking towards electronics that are more compact and things like that. And so, the first prize gets this iPad with Retina display that goes along with the washing machine. Second prize for the team, that is, each member gets this mini iPad with a refrigerator. Third prize gets this laptop with the oven, a microwave oven. That goes. Each of the players gets that. The idea was, men are always out there, out in the field playing, while the women are waiting at home. So this is something to bring back home to their family and thing. You have to understand, archery as a game has evolved like anywhere for the warfare. So it was for the battles that the men practiced for, and that evolved into matches and things. Men would go out into battle, and women, as a head of the household, would actually take care of the farms or even the castles or the zongs, the fortresses that you have seen. So it has become a man's sport. We are matriarchal society, so the inheritance goes from mother to daughters and things like that. Head of the household is a woman in the country. Men gets booted out if there's a divorce. So, and talking about archery, there are a number of stories where, men have to sneak out to play archery, to play this kind of archery. So there are stories of men passing down their bows and arrows through the window with a rope down and acting with a briefcase as if they're going off to work in front of their wives, but they're actually headed off to the archery fields to play. Generally, Bhutanese are okay with the girls shooting or anything. It's just that women themselves may not prefer being seen doing something masculine. In terms of archery, being dominated by men is mainly that reason thing. But there are many women who would say, that's man's sport. I don't want anything to do with it. Better him in the field than with me here just now, But in terms of the recurve bow, we have both men and women represent the country. We have equal number of women players as men. And in fact, the coaches are mainly women as of yet at the Bhutan Archery Federation.
I have few girls, yes. I'm not going to lie. I have been working very hard with them, and I'm looking forward they will do something. But then, and it's full of surprising when it comes to women. But yes, there are few girls, 3 girls who are doing very good. And if they don't get married in between, then I'm definitely sure they're gonna do well. Because I can understand that in Western country, they get married, they come back, they win medals. But then here it's different. They come here, they get married, they leave, they never come back. My boss always tell me, are you against the marriage, blah, blah, blah. And then I say, no, I'm not against the marriage. I don't want to lose them. I can see bright future. And I want to make them understand that if they work really hard, they're going to do something. I don't want them to misunderstand because they are young, they don't understand, they think that life is very easy. You get married and then everything is like paradise. It doesn't work that way. I don't mind them having boyfriends. I don't mind, but then I'm a little bit uncomfortable when they get married because then things change.
I think that the general belief among our own Bhutanese people is that I think archery is our national sport, that almost every man in Bhutan would have played archery at one point of time in their lives. And therefore, we should be doing well in Olympic archeries. I think that's the general perception, which I think is wrong because traditional archery and Olympic archery, I think, are they far apart.
Olympic archery is a completely new sport in regards to traditional archery. The aura of the game is completely different. It's something that the Olympic family and the Olympic sporting world created, not something that Bhutan and Bhutanese people created. So it's something external and foreign for us. Although, having said that, the foundations for archery are the same. And therefore, it runs in our blood. And if channeled the right way, Olympic archery is something that Bhutan should be wary of.
For Bhutan to do well in any sports would take tremendous efforts, it would take tremendous investments and then. But the best chance we do have, and that's what I believe, is in the sport of archery. We hope to be able to spread international Olympic style of archery to all the schools within the country. Traditional archery, it's already set there. I mean, like, as soon as children are 8, 6 years of age, they're given a bamboo bow and they begin to shoot in them. But now we have to get people to think in terms of the international style. And so we are setting it up in schools.
Then we'll see respiratory, that is inspiratory, reserved, volume. Then we have another term that is expiratory, reserved, volume. Then the final one is residual volume. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
아, 휴미스면 어때? 에밍 하이베네.
Sharabzam, who is an Olympian, she represented Bhutan in London Olympics. She is placed in the Eastern Bhutan. We set up our office there, and Sharab is in charge for that office. Sharab's role is also to coach the selected individuals to represent Bhutan in international arena. And as of now, she's also doing that with 4 children that we got from last winter's inter-school bamboo competition.
lobda du na le ngachi na hina nam gun na lu te kongi chungkuchi ta kongi tournament sumchibe so digibe anale lobda du gi na le lobtu te shi te kong shi di te na le the first second third fourth bithinung be te ngachi gi kong shi damkha chepchi te ane chobra te ma rashegi tenle te alusugi to training be digi be do do de chiasi mapa ini de ngemale semi alui debda khongi to tonga chigi rika phone lo ko tama sibi tinge mate ro pakshi ki phone se debi release tam da semavas anasha relax be toppa
My name is Pup Singh Namgyal and I live in Kanglo, this place. Till now I think my favorite sport is just archery.
I didn't know actually he was very interested in archery. From a very young age he was a very active kid and unlike other kids he was always jumping and hopping around. He doesn't stay in the same place. So after a few months, I think he made archery something kind of his hobby, and he liked it very much. After practicing, after being trained, and after knowing rules, and after so many trainings, and now he's finally get into it.
Exam random Tawda ani victory last thing to ka tele chamin ko the game na jumi ani shi diven ani me churu atara to push the chap na me some shuve chawa chamchinga chimi peshagi other than the atri kachla mission tanemi okay thank you
Didang mi chot ni la omad ning sama cattle founder dio. Skale ogala uto zopia hai po tikang to keku tikang shole me ka phai kap ka yala le ni bu phai nang ka yala ha ni bu tha kata phuni nam same keku shole me ka le uto das jam la ni la. Koma ni la haga mi Jiangsu da ni thago phe Jiangsu ani budang thago phe ni singe dakpa tabju ani cho oma ota singa ota jotpacha ni dakpa kap ni aten thai thazulga ma takpa ni tawnang ka gini la puli mangpura puli changla ni gini bu puli dang aha paksinga hepo ma pa kheba ha mancha aten thazulga songo sho Pulisho ngolega bu aten dukha songa de ke ngolega bu namsame kangela puliga da khan hai khebar namsame sal mapat hawang da mala gini bu te chuchaga thunga de ke mingi got pagamni chempo thodang tiktang thal odo puli nyongpada ba ni tani ibirang ohaga ni malekhan ibirang mancha anshuli hilana
I think it was in 1995, some of the people's representatives were worried that the popularity of the compound bows would kill our traditional bamboo archery. So they had put up a proposal to the parliament. They proposed that compound bow should be banned. The concern was also because of people selling their family properties, selling their family inheritance to buy compound bows. Even today, I think there is this criticism that many, they would forego something more important to buy a bow.
Archery, it is expensive, but it's something I can't live without. Yeah, it is definitely, especially the arrows, no? Very, very costly. Equipment, okay, fine. The one-time cost. But arrows, and it's getting expensive more and more. Most of the arrows is what's driving, that families into, having some struggle with the younger guys, unafforded and all those things. It's become very expensive.
Human beings, our wants are unlimited. But as human beings, our needs are very, very limited. And in Bhutan, almost each and every citizen in our country, their basic needs are already granted. Education, health, shelter, land, home. But how we define and how we try to manage our wants, that is the problem. And that is the challenge.
There was a long debate, and I think ultimately, I would say wisdom prevailed. Our parliament that time decided that, okay, we should not go to the extent of banning import of compound bows. We could also use this compound bow to further our traditional archery. So the decision was that compound bow should be allowed, but no gadgets like the sights and the this trigger release and clickers and so on and so forth. So long we stick to all these conditions. So compound bow should be considered as also part of traditional archery.
If you look at the hits, the joy of getting the hits, I prefer the compound. And I feel that using the trigger release doesn't really conform to our traditional. You're basically depending on a lot of technical. That human aspect of how well you can lock your hands, fingers. If you are drinking a lot of alcohol, whether you are able to control your fingers, all those things are taken care of. Once you have a trigger release, you just have to. But I guess in Yangfell, it's all right.
So Yangfell tournament is now under the mandate of Bhutan Archery Federation, not under BICSA. It was under BICSA till last year. So strictly speaking, Yangfell archery is not traditional archery. So I think it's a good medium for Bhutan to move towards international compound archery.
Last time, so it's better to see. Okay, next is the dancers, solicitation, coordination, transfers, meals.
They would be only singing from the side, nothing in between. And during the break, then they're going to be dancing, which is already programmed into the end.
Okay. That's the end of our minutes from last year. The only work plan is left. This will be discussed tomorrow at the archery ground. Should we fix the time for that? For tomorrow? 5 o'clock?
4:30.
Let's say 4:30. Start at 5. Okay, 4:30 people will start coming down there. 5 o'clock we start. and then read out this the work plan. Now it's time for any other minutes. Is there anything, any other matters, anything that we left out? This is very important, and we would like this to be recorded. I'm just kidding. So we, during the archery finals and in any event in Bhutan, the divine intervention is the most important.
Yes.
So that's why tomorrow, Tsao, yourself, and the archery committee, whoever, has to go maybe tomorrow or day after. Tomorrow, I think. Tomorrow. First thing in the morning before 8 o'clock, when they do the sekha.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is much.
Because after sunrise, no, if you do that, it's more better.
Yes.
After sunrise, they stop the thing. Before sunrise, during the sekha, if you can do that.
Yes.
And this is the whole day event to go well, to prevent from accidents, to keep the morale and spirits of all the organizers, spectators, archers, everybody quite high. So that's why it's very important. So if you could this year ensure to go before sunrise.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
By any means, huh?
Yes.
Okay, then for the interest of time, we will wrap up. Thank you so much for attending this meeting. Please remember tomorrow 4:30 archery ground to work out the work plan. Okay. Thank you so much.
So alcohol is must. Alcohol is must to steady our minds because it makes you calm when you should. But excess of alcohol is again, it will hamper because it's very dangerous if you, what do you say? If you miss your hands, then you will slip away and then you might hit somebody else. So it's very dangerous for us. So your mind has to be under concentration every time.
If somebody gets hit from an arrow from a compound bow, it could be lethal. And we have had cases where there has been deaths. I think main reason why we're being criticized for allowing alcohol consumption is because of the accidents. And the accidents have occurred, I think, some maybe because of overindulgence, but also sometimes, and more often, I think it's because of accidental release. People getting hit outside the archery range. That has been the major issue. This is something which we have tried to address. We're trying to train every archer how to draw the bow, compound bow, because our Bhutanese people have this habit of drawing into the air. And that's when, if you had accidentally happened to let the arrow go, then the arrow could land anywhere. And then, pedestrians, people walking by, driving by, they could get hit. Ultimately, once we have a fairly large archery population getting trained in this, we might enforce it as a rule, regulation, that anyone who draws his bow above the shoulder level will be, not allowed to play.
I remember one arrow going through my soles of my shoes and coming out from there.
You had
yeah. So at one time the arrow going through here and coming out from here. And those days it was very risky, but the spirit of playing was as high as it is now, or maybe more. We go and stand next to the flag and we try to judge how the arrow is coming, then we move. Sometimes we move into the target if it's hitting really wide. Even with compound, we have to do that.
Even with compound?
Yeah. Even with compound, we are doing that. So in the process, we are landing up getting all these accidents. So then they decided we should have this wall. Too many casualties are happening. I remember once one of my friends getting hit direct on the chest, straight. It was like hitting a target. That's the noise, the sound. Luckily, he survived. It sounded as if he hit the target. So that was very lucky moment. But then he was out for some time because of shock.
Oh yeah.
Shock. But the thing is, archery, when somebody gets shot up here, it's accepted. It's a risk.
That's the risk you take, yeah.
Normally, somebody doesn't really get, and the law is a little different. Left. Left.
두개 합 줄지다는 남에 삼에 줄지 되어 안실링이라나 오마 오하 누가 줄지 칠루랑 항제 아니라 비실리기 되어라 예 맨강 되어라 맨강 템태가 똑바자 비실리기 똑바자 갈람쇼자 오늘밖에 줄지 남에 삼에 줄지 되어 쇼낭 필랬다니 고마가 했다니 오마 디가 색반남에 삼에 쇼낭 피나 나 줄리기라 알카착 봤다니 남의 삼의 쇼낭 피나 아니길라 가리터 다니고 당пол라 갈람마카 갈람 천여 딕빌라 미나라 일단 말라렉고 형 갈람 오늘 알카서 루쿠티디켈라니 당니부 kit부 네 오카 당내가 분이 남의 삼의 오하 적부 오냐 되게니 오하 오뉴다니 오냐 남의 삼의 쇼낭 피가 오하 삭바 말라 아니길라 줄지 델레키와 하야냐라 당포가 미마카 미모 남에서면 나둥난가 사티톡니 니 고마 당포 아니라 렌송나 아니 더 앞에 벌어난가 버가 니오냐 렌송 톡배 니오냐라 오냐 렌송 타바 사티 예 아니 톡니 니옴 태농함샤 우뉴 운다부 톡배메 해가 남에서면 그러니까
뭐야 이제 뭐 그래
줄지에 하고 미 섹티게 갔다니 또 들저니 뭐 레스쿠 걸저니 항들저니 뭐 게슬린더당 운유바카 페니 녀냐디케니 미 섹티게 갔다니 남에서미 줄지디야 오냐마 삿바 녀 운유다니 말렉바타 항틀리 켈레 우선 남에 사메 렉부디올라 다니 민자라 하야닥바 아이버 틱땅터냐 고마가 고마 둑부부 친마 오마 kit부부 친마자 Come dupu chinma oma kitpu chinma dakpakabni omaga netanga shekpa tiktang de kitpu tiktang tharsha chinma ni dani. Aiba tiktang de kelega betogyala dani ohega tani tiktang de semu ani ama agenela aiba buni ohe dün mangpu ani rang oha shonang pia oha hakpaga ohe chogyala ni dani hoy minala.
Tapcho.
Tapcho as that question.
몸 눕죠.
We are headed to the north of Thimphu, to a temple called Dishanpu. Today, I'm mainly going up there to make our offerings. As the tournament organizer, we make some offerings, pray that everything happens well for the finals tomorrow. We are starting quite early so that we are in time up there when the caretakers would do what we call Sekha, which is basically the invocation of the deities early in the morning. Archers, to ensure that they win the matches, and often this comes from a tradition where we used to have annual matches between the villages. They would consult astrologers, and there are stories of men walking backwards in a small hours of the morning, quite dark, because the astrologer told them that they should be facing certain direction when they are entering the archery range. And so imagine this, group of adult men backing down a hill, grouping, like each other as they back down a hill into an archery range. So that's the temple up there, the one in the red. I love shooting. Even now, I would love to shoot again. But I don't really have permission from my family as such. One is, in a way, work in terms of why thing. I also had, accident in terms of archery thing. I injured someone, then I didn't want to shoot. Feel like shooting. So, but I think that has to wait a bit. With the archery, you want to have a clear mind. So I'm not shooting these days.
Yamati nga 충고가 됐다디 다잡니디 녹성을 마타멜라 그세어친 안좀 다잡니 세 남주기야 마고 민토기야 마통 빈디기 당하기 더봄 조심달로 다잡 상스노 녹성기 니위니람나야 마통 세슈니뱅라 땡가라기 아니 bomb juda kachi benis no achinda police officer beni no dila de mapale mitembe seshuni vela the na mom zum chi bechin tanga to pesha tadi yan jujonga la mishla yan majujonga la mishla te na ngara sesena mindigi na tajami thum dilo ana sesem gai seshuni vela tangaragi dida tajabdra nimisidi thakini se nomela te ngaragi bechin tajabdra ani benila te jimi na junigi di nga nosamra mila nyamalera ta mazudin zisaila te dirnara chike ni se shuni
ani ke di gagi mosra jana karma sringi islam no to thena do
amsugi tajabto seta mi gara khajang be deb message nevela debe ina meme da amsigia da jami halamchira dhuse shunivela da nagi lusi beochin project jamchi da jabi se sumime mi mashigira da ngachigi da chige ga da chiga dewa thaptadi amsi tisugia da pojo wangam chaptadi asi amsi tisu nyara message shunivela the Olympic ki thega tedi ngachi gara tsuke de sushuni vela ta ngachi kya kham nale chamato ni be chamato ni gi tenle namsami tsuke do ta to training be be sa yi se shuni vela te ngachi gi besu wachin tamolu chamchi nok tamato shimi ga che nok nani mi se shuni vela
As the president of my Olympic committee, I really hope and pray that Olympic archery becomes as popular and valued as much as traditional archery, so that we may see success at the international level outside our country.
During my time, I think Olympic archery, the biggest challenge was taking archery down to the schools. We tried it. In fact, one of the national coaches that we had, I kept him in one of the schools in Dagana for 1 year. And after 1 year of his being posted there, when we took a, review of the progress, it was almost zero because the children would, join, take his coaching, training, and then the turnover was so great that nobody would continue.
Shimigi anebe laluchigi se dong jamtong to mese. Debuda ngachira chap be ta be dalu shiwi wadala. Te ta mapangagi di ta nalu junigi dauchi mindu. Debuda dauchigi nakidna ta alusu ta ngachi sa do nime chutimi be ta alusu training ngachi kadebe da sojin de continue bira se do. The Gachino Mesochinda Alu Animchi Chunkuchi Kibe Dangachigi Gyahapki Tene that represent Belme Palu, Nacharigi to Gyahapki Tene Belme, the Anuda that Narigi Hole, Talusulu Kadi, Chibesuchi, Labja Leshumbechi, the Ruda Tanda Bemasure, the Penidi, the Kachibesuni, Tangachina, Alu Nisumchi Jome, the training though the jump on Dutch. The Lusum Yasisla Motochi, the bamboo bona chap didipchi motochi, Toto Rikafna Chavra Macha, the Rikafna Tarikodama Chapchi. The Kungani Tong Sing I ye the Mapa and Rede Madi, some Chere Madi, the Alusiani with Tong say. The Nivetong loved that or Rikafna Memula, Rikafna.
Bhutan has been participating in the Olympics since 1984, every Olympics. But to tell you the fact, the ones who went to the Olympics were the best from among how many? Because we didn't have the capacity to take this Olympic archery to a larger population.
This was in the Sydney Olympic, the first Olympic I was there, and here I am shooting with the China. That was the time when I won first match. When we came back from Athens Olympics, we just won one match. We were out. But then when we came back home, we were treated like a star. Everybody, all the officials was there at the airport with a white scarf, and we were awarded some amount of cash money with the Prime Minister's cabinet, and we were given nobody gives this appreciation letter from Royal Government of Bhutan that your country is very proud. It's and we got it, and it was really surprising. The cash money was not important. This was the appreciation letter from the Prime Minister of Bhutan. Though I didn't win any medals, but then winning the first match in the Olympic was a big achievement for us. I always tell them that try. We want to do something in the Olympics. I want you to break my record. I have won one match, but I want you to win medals.
Yes, we'd like to strive for medals, but to be realistic, we placed our goal just to qualify on our own merit. When we began, we were given a wild card mainly because I think we are a nation which has archery as a national sport. That was one big reason cited. But wildcards in the Olympic system is also given to countries that has contingent of less than 10 people. Among those nations that has less than 10 athletes, Bhutan are among the top nations in archery, sport of archery. So it is also almost a default in that sense.
Most of the people, they always say, oh, you all have been to Olympics since 1980 something, you never qualified. And they don't understand. You go to one world championship, you qualified? No, that's wrong. You have to go to so many competitions to get qualified. And they don't understand that we don't go to these things. One of my boys, he's doing quite well. And I'm definitely hoping that this time, if we are given chances to compete to the World Championship time to time, I'm 100% sure that they will qualify.
Sometimes, because he goes early, he comes late, and whenever he's home, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it happens that I have to shout at them. He just reciprocates with the same style. No, when I'm shouting, he does shout too. Then I think that, he's very stressed. So I just calm myself, then I go to calm him.
아니보다 다 게임나 주니치 토페다 다 코레 마파 nga치기 주다 거의 사기도 엄미슬라메 다 페차타니 이 텔렌테 파다참네 이 도로소소기 게임 기탐나로 데 스쿨나레 파 레샤도 아니네 지고템베다 데코 아시치 다 대우 마도 아스레 템메세메 대다 님치 봄민도 당아치게 거르게 럽도 좀 같이게 고도 좀 미기 통도 좀 배워진 당아치게 아스레다 럽수수치 콜로 럽제레 진도 다 처르기 안에 배 같이게 다 인치 미치 치 도바 치루 닌도 미바다 잡고 미세 대다 처르기 비겁자고 같이 답도 마도 데가데비 당아치로 럽 당아치게 차로 베수수치 베게세 된 거르기 다 다리기 베슬로 다 게임나 journey top memo male ma journey be me dani be da sa ginselabhi tangachi regular be bemasure te churu atar bege te dise top ta bege se dani labi apa cheche khora te ma ta like the lobdegi male te chimlare chi yugure digu ane be ten delim pha da chap kobre be da asire matochi te be chindi to vesnome
Niya hangila ma matone rang luka dangpu ugai udabu zaito adike mi dak pakapne shenang ma ro shonang phele una ni la sonam ga leale khating ge omat ka season ma ka omat tang tharo nya oma leale khating ge lean chonja ni lechuma kam lat mi namsame to ta tu ha song ba tham che mi chang ne shonang phele chonja ni shuli 다 두하송어 갑칸들라니 탐지 좀요 갑녀 네 쇼낭 피아니 저암 숨숨 외는 방어의 장내 현자마 랑티가 야로카 송어당 다 아티가 오뉴 닉싱 하이퍼 장피안가 해강가기니라니 팝델레멘가 당포 부스케 아니랑 오니 하나페 똥뇽다 반자 랑아 색바 랑아 하이키 냐타 톡자 냐로카 색바 냐로카 하이키 랑아 톡자 하야닥바 냐로카 하이키 waktu tok pikir Shanghai ni lah, waktu pamdu ni nok sambil tok lah, aha merta baki ni lah, merta baki ni ai pamdu lah ni, orang kan, kami sambil dangdut ni, pamdu mavina nok sambil ni, orang unda bertok pega ni, unda dong pap dele mereka ni, mapat puskian macam mana ni gila lah.
저런 가볍게 날당한 재미와대.
Sir, this is how we play a traditional archery. You know, the real concept of traditional archery is here right now.
One song is just when they criticize about some players. This is very fast, like logo be. They criticize out of the look. Okay, you are looking like a bald. You know, like you are bald and you'll never hit the target. And when they dance relaxedly, you know, like Wanchipembi Chanta means is you are looking like a leader. Your target will always hit the target. Your arrow will always hit the target.
빈조, 사이드 오면 사이드 유지했나?
In olden days, women, you know, like they come with the packed lunch while their husbands are playing archery, or while their sons are playing archery, while their fathers are playing archery. They come with the packed lunch, and they used to bring a bottle of wine and share with everyone. So nowadays, that is not really practiced. We need to hire the dancers. So the dancers are not very important, but it has been very important in olden days when they play from one village to another. Archery, actually, it's a sport, but it has been the part of culture and tradition. It's a very important identity for the country to show off to the outside world. It has been like going Kira. It has been like a national flag. So it's a part of our identity to show off to the outside world.
If you go to office, that's the rule, we have to wear the national dresses. And if you go to schools, we wear it. If you go to monastery, that's the respect how we show. I think it's good because that's how you take care of your culture and tradition. Because no matter how modernized your country is, I think we should always remember where we come from. So like maybe after 10 years, I may be very westernized, maybe I may funky hair, different, but I should at least know where I come from. So it's a very good that the kids who just started, he's 5, 6, he's going to school, he's wearing national dress, which is good because he should never forget that this is who we are. I think as an individual, it's our duty to take care of our culture.
The preservation of culture and traditions is enshrined in our constitution. It's one of the pillars of gross national happiness. But at the end of the day, we are the heart and soul of this country. And it's how we collectively move along in accordance to the parameters that have been set by our forefathers.
Namgi di mapa alu nami semikot talinci tu ba koluru nami semicudu cidu kacira beguru pecaci tani kita beru ngama lebisulo lola telen kona pamsule lola pebe dalu kacila mesocin kogi beni cani semidero inci mici begose toto chungku ngale notanglero kora de sosubra doose de kodi nami semici ru chimisumbe sangsadi ngosani be men ru de lamme jamni re karalong de kogi ngagi delli be wacindero kodi nami semi tubesi nomela da alu animcinale de kachiguni mosla lalumi bombere de la maswa de goete de kodi tubra tubesi nome alu chungku ngale amci talin toppe omdalu de kolu dabe da ngare ngerame da dimci beso wacinde de kongi beso wacinde ngage honle de kadici charo besu suchire de animci da ge habo mamcinale jobeda asici da ngare alu sugi kadebe besunga de besu jasu suchide da konsugi ti mashuchi inde leshmire beni no suchi debe tando da.
It's very much of worry. Actually, he's not representing a school nor just a district or anything, but he's going to represent a country. I used to tell him, even his friend, that you are not just selected for the sake of selection. I think you have been selected all over Bhutan just to represent Bhutan. So whenever you step out from Bhutan, you just think that you are representing your own country. You have to think twice before you do something. So I always say that this is a very good opportunity. Just don't get nervous and be what you are. Just be confident and be proud that you're representing your country.
I'll try my best. Sure, I'll be nervous because there will be too much crowded, and there will be, I guess, many people, many competitors lying up, and I guess Bhutanese are short in height, so I just have to look my competitor up.
Union that rang look at Union Taze happened Dampo Udabo Jamaton Choyala, or have Major Temperani Utapo, Chiminche Utapo, Ranlu Magema, or Taliga Haponium, Ohegatani. Major Temperani, Wata Udabo, the Rangu Haponi, Magema Utabo Taliga, some Chilija and Chuligila.
Ironically, the team that won had the lowest number of carries or hits, and they won because they were able to group their hits together. So in that way, what is thought to be an individual sport like archery becomes a team sport when they have to group their hits in a single round.
KTP Descent Yangpal Open Archery Tournament, the winners la KTP Construction.
Modernization, I think, is inevitable. Development, I think, is important. Economic, social. At the same time, preservation of culture, I think, is extremely important, because for a small country, sandwiched between two giants, you know. And I would like to believe that we survived as a sovereign, independent state because of our tradition, our culture, our identity being different. So whatever we do, we have to try to find a balance. So far, I think we've done well, and I'm quite confident that we will manage somehow in the future. Although things have, I think, the pace of development has become much faster. Challenges are getting more daunting. But so long, I think, we are focused on what is best for Bhutan and the Bhutanese people, I'm sure we will manage.